Welcome to Pointblank. This is your weekly program where I take on issues head-on. I will be blunt, direct, straightforward, and I will hold nothing back from you. I'll give you my thoughts or my take, and I expect that you'll get back to me somehow on my Twitter account, Omo-Osagie, or you can tweet to us at Pointblank. Welcome. My name is Omo-Osagie. This week I have two interesting issues to deal with. One is about our ex-governors in Nigeria, where what I see as their pension payment is a scam. The second, which is unfortunate again, is the Nigerian Football Federation leadership tussle. This is between Amaju Pinnick and Ambassador Giwa. Let me quickly take a break. I will be back to start on my first issue. The first issue I'm going to discuss today is the pension scam, and I call the pension scam by the ex-governors in Nigeria. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to take three examples: Lagos State ex-governors, the Akwa Ibom ex-governors, and the Rivers State ex-governors. Now, this has nothing to do with the misappropriated funds while they were in office, because I know most of them have built things that... I'll give you an example. The Akwa Ibom State Governor, the last one, built a world-class football or athletic stadium. It's world-class. It's a beautiful stadium. It seats 30,000 people. But why would he spend all that millions to build a stadium that is barely going to ever be used or used to full value? But that's what I talk about, misappropriation. But this is not about it. This is about the money they receive after they leave office. So I'll start with Lagos State. Look, Lagos State really, in the last 16 years, we can say has been pretty well managed. But boy, do their pension look like a scam. Tinubu and Fashola right now are entitled to one house in Lagos and one in Abuja. A house in Lagos for an ex-governor would be about 500 million naira. Now we're talking about over a $2 million house. George Bush, who lives on the outskirts of Dallas, an ex-president in America, his house is barely 900 and he paid for it himself. It wasn't given to him by the country. So you can see what I'm talking about when it becomes a scam. A house in Abuja that an ex-governor of Lagos is also entitled to costs at least 700 million. We're pushing $3 million now. An ex-governor of Lagos State will get 6 cars every 3 years. His entire family is entitled to medical care that is uncapped. It doesn't matter how much it costs. Married and unmarried children, it's just not with his spouse. His children, whether they are married or unmarried, are also covered medical costs. He also takes home the salary of the present governor, 100% of that basic salary. Boy, is it good to be an ex-governor in Lagos State, because that's a whole load of money that the state will be spending. Now, go down 30, 40 years down the road, you could have 6, 7, 8 ex-governors still alive and collecting all this money. They should come and ask some of the American states here how the pension scheme or pensions that they've created 40 years ago is affecting their bottom line right now. It's unfortunate that I have to call people's pension a scam, but the governors in Nigeria, what they are earning as pension or what they are getting as pension looks very much like a scam, because they sent it in and it was approved by the legislature and they had to sign it. So this is a scam to make money. Let us look at Akwa Ibom. This state has the highest debt ratio in Nigeria. Akwa Ibom, a small state, they carry the biggest debt in the country. And their chief executive, an ex-chief executive, receives obviously 100% of his salary, one house, either in Lagos or Uyo, must be a 5-bedroom and must be furnished with 300% of his basic salary. This X is also entitled to medical expenses of 100 million naira. Take this, that 100 million is actually a bargain because it was initially 500 million. It had to be reduced. All this for the governor that built, like I said, that built a world-class stadium, basically mismanaged his people's money to build a stadium that is never going to be used completely. It's going to be an empty stadium for years, and it's going to rot away like every other big stadium we built in Nigeria. It's unfortunate, but these are the things that our ex-governors, or these ex-governors in Nigeria, are doing to their people. Rivers State is obviously the third state I said I'm going to deal with. What is it with Rivers State? The law, the pension law for governors was signed in 2012. It gives this ex-governor a house anywhere in the country. I laugh about that, anywhere in the country. Is he going to get a house in Ajegunle? I doubt it. He's going to get a house either in Abuja or Lagos. So when they say anywhere in the country, he's not even going to build one in his village because it will have no value. So he's going to get one in the most expensive parts of Lagos, Banana Island, and Abuja, Asokoro. That is what these governors have signed. A law in 2012 that's going to give them money for the entire life of theirs. He also has 3 cars for every 4 years he's alive. He has an uncapped. Is when we use the word uncapped, that means it has, look, you can't stop anything he wants to do medically. He has an uncapped one for his entire family. Spouse, children, married and unmarried. Folks, this is the biggest scam in Nigeria today. And I'm going to give you a reason why I call this a scam. Because I have looked into it, and there's nowhere else in the world that we find ex-governors, not even presidents of the United States, get this kind of pension. So once we come back, because we'll take a break right now, once we come back, I'm going to put this side by side with what the president, an ex-president of America gets as pension. So I'll see you soon. Welcome back to Point Blank. Look, let me remind you, keep the hashtags coming, which is hashtag Point Blank, or my Twitter, which is PJ Omo-Osagie. Keep those messages coming. I'd really enjoy to have a discourse with, with you guys. I mean, let it happen. I mean, it's important that I start to get feedback so I can, know exactly how you feel. Because remember, this is all about my thoughts, what I think, and what my take is on some of these very important issues in Nigeria. So before we took this break, I did say that I was going to kind of put what I have put out there as our governors, our ex-governors' pension plans. I'm going to put to you now what the president, an ex-president of America, receives. Let's remember, how many ex-presidents do America have living right now? We have Jimmy Carter, we have Bush Sr., we have Bill Clinton, and we have Bush Jr. So we have 4 presidents. All 4 presidents are entitled to what? They're entitled to an office. The governor or the government of America gives them an office. But just not any office. It has to be reasonable. I remember that when Bill Clinton left office, he was going to get an office in one of the most expensive buildings in New York. There was an outcry, a huge outcry. He had to back away from that and move into Harlem. His office is now in Harlem. That's how much they care about the people's money. What else do they get? Do you know what their salary is when they're president? I think the present salary of the president of the US is about $400,000 now. Every ex-president gets the equal or gets the same amount as a cabinet secretary of the incumbent. So right now, all the 4 ex-presidents are receiving about just under $200,000, which is what a cabinet secretary under President Obama gets. That's all they get. They get the usual security apparatus, which is a couple of Secret Service people that take care of just him and his wife. It has nothing to do with his children. It has nothing. His health care, God knows that he's got to buy himself a good insurance, health insurance. The people don't take care of that. They don't buy them houses. Even if you're a minister or a secretary in America, you buy your own property. Because it's you. If you don't have that job, you're going to live somewhere. So please, let's do that. But again, this is just putting it side by side, and that is why I really call it a scam, because they are bleeding these states dry. Lagos State, like I said, I think has been pretty well managed by its 2 ex-governors. But for these same governors to turn around and do this to their people, over what? Over what? But enough of that. My second issue, which even though I would introduce it, I'll take a break before we really go into it. But my second issue, which I say is unfortunate, because this is the second time that I'm having to discuss Nigerian football. The Nigerian Football Federation is having a leadership tussle once again. When I come back, I'll get into that, and I will also be joined by someone, a very knowledgeable person in sports and media. He's a sports and media analyst, Mr. Joachim Idada. He will join me by phone, and we'll talk about the issues or this persistent problem in Nigerian football. So we'll take another quick break, and we're back, and I will analyze the Nigerian Football Federation leadership tussle. Welcome back. The Nigerian Football Federation is in trouble again, and it will soon be in bigger trouble with FIFA, the governing body of world football. A just High Court last week Friday sacked the present board of the Nigerian Football Federation over some issues that we really can't explain. But nevertheless, a High Court, which is, we're a country of laws, has sacked this body. But of course, the present body has gone back to court, to stay in power. But why do we consistently have this leadership tussle? Joining me on the phone right now, like I introduced earlier, is Mr. Joachim Idada, who's a sports and media analyst. Joachim, are you there? Hello. Mr. Joachim, are you with me?
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good, Prof. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, I just introduced the fact that the Nigerian Football Federation has, again by law, has been kicked out of the glass house in Abuja. Can you just give me what your thoughts are, your initial thoughts when you heard this? What do you think about this current, constant or persistent problem in Nigerian football?
There are critical aspects of sports administration in Nigeria that the government of Nigeria needs to look at. But concerning this matter in question, that is the court case against the current board of the Nigerian Football Federation. One thing continues to bother sports analysts or those involved in sports in Nigeria is between FIFA and between FIFA and the Ministry of Sport in Nigeria, whose rules hold sway at any particular time. A position is being presented to us claiming that FIFA is the ultimate power when it comes to issues concerning football. But remember, they have forgotten one fact, that FIFA is a private body. It is not, even though it has this international connotation, but it is not a body representing countries. It's a body representing clubs. It's an association of clubs.
But
our sport in Nigeria fundamentally is governed by government. And because it's governed by government, how does our government enforce rules?
Okay, look.
They only enforce rules through our courts, our regular courts.
Mr. Joachim, just give me. Let me just chip in there, and it's kind of a question. You said the sports in Nigeria is governed really wholly by government. Now, I want to believe what you're saying is that we need a little bit more private infusion into Nigerian sport. But
that's the point.
But let us leave it.
That's the point.
Just a minute. Where we are now, which is governed by sport. Our sport is governed by government. To just take government away probably is not feasible right now. But here is my question to you. Look, they've been sacked by a court. What should happen now? Should we wait and see what FIFA is going to do? Should there be some kind of fence mending? Because look, there are so many things on the table that Football Federation, through obviously our national teams, have to do. We have the under-23 going to the Rio Olympics. So what do you think? Tell me what should be done now.
Well, the point remains clear that FIFA is a private organization.
Yes.
Two, the other important point that we should understand in this matter is that there are laws in various countries. And in Nigeria, when a court passes judgment, that judgment must be upheld. Otherwise, we are advocating anarchy and lawlessness. So FIFA, that is a private body, cannot tell us in Nigeria that our court or the decisions of our court don't hold sway. I do not agree with that.
So in short, Joachim, in short, you are saying that we should call the bluff of FIFA for this one time and see whether that would help our football to move forward.
Call the bluff of FIFA. If they say they want to ban Nigeria, they cannot ban Nigeria because Nigeria as a country is not a member of FIFA. It is supposed we should have private organizations. If the NFF was an organization comprising private clubs, then that organization can go and join anybody he wants to go and join. But unfortunately for us in our country, FIFA, the NFF and the Ministry of Sport seems to be the same body, which is wrong.
Well, look,
that is what causes confusion. Because FIFA is a private body.
Mr. Joachim, there are times, I have spoken to you off camera, off the phone and all that we have met and we've talked sports generally. Look, I do appreciate your contributions and all that. It's been wonderful that you could join us on the phone today. Look, what you're telling us is that we need to actually call the bluff of FIFA. We need to try to get private commitments into our sports. And you're saying that if we can do all that, we'll probably be better for it in Nigerian sports. Is that what you're saying?
At the long run, we should look at things from from a long or a futuristic perspective. Everything should not be
right now.
instantaneous.
Okay.
No, everything cannot be instantaneous.
Okay.
And in the long run, it will be better for Nigerian football.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Joachim Idada. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure, Professor. It's nice talking to you.
I'll take a quick break. When I come back, I will give you my point-blank view on the two issues I have covered today. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Point Blank. I'm sure you caught me in more of a pensive mood. But really, it's about the issues that I've discussed today. They are actually bothersome. I will take the last first, and I'll take the first last. So I'm going to talk about the NFF first. Here's my point-blank view about the Nigerian Football Federation and its constant problems with leadership. Nigerian football should actually take to the model of other countries. We say this all the time, that we want to do what most people or what other countries are doing and succeeding. Every other major football country does not have an executive football federation. They have more like a figurehead president or a figurehead board of 11 to 12, 13 persons. That's what we need to do. We then need to hire what? We need to hire a CEO. The present CEO, Secretary General of the English FA, is a former CEO of a biscuit company, a company that was, turning over, a few billion pounds. But in Nigeria, we have an NFF body, even as small as the money that they have to use, or the money that they have as revenue is small. 150 million naira a month comes from the government, and we still can run a good federation. We need to stop it. We need to go to what I consider the executive type of governance, where your executive arm of the Football Federation is really an outsider, someone that is brought in to manage just not the money, but to manage the people, someone who has managed business before. We all keep saying in Nigeria that football is big business. That's where we need to start from. We should stop with this executive NFF, where a bunch of them have never seen a million naira before, and they expect to manage that amount of money and that many programs. They have no idea of what they are doing. It's not possible to do what you're not equipped to do. And that's what the problem is. So the leadership tussle is really about trying to people are fighting to get there because they know when they get there, it means nothing. They can't do anything. They're just going to enjoy not fruits, but they're just going to enjoy the atmosphere, travel to all over parts of the country, all over the world on other people's money. So that's my first take, and that's my take on Nigerian Football Federation and its problems. Let me now talk about my first issue, which is the pension of the Nigerian ex-governors. It is a shame as a people that we allow governors, a few of them, to rip us off this way. They are ripping us off. I know right now this is a little bit of an issue. It's all over the news and all that. But the question I would ask my fellow Nigerians here and at home is, what are we going to do about it? No people, no persons should be allowed to do this to it. So because you governed us, that now makes you take this kind of money from the system. They should go ask cities in America that have created this kind of pension for people that have served in the police, in the fire department, in the teachers union, They should find out how much debt these states or cities have run into. We shouldn't do that to our system. We're a beginning democracy. We're starting afresh. We cannot allow those few people to reap the system. I'm a little bit surprised that the Lagos State governor signed this kind of thing into law just to benefit him and his family. It's unfair and it's not right. That's my take, and that's my point-blank view on these two issues this week. Again, my name is Patrick Omo-Osagie. You've been watching Point Blank. I'll be back again next week with a few new issues to discuss with you. Bye-bye.